So this will probably be the simplest and only video you need here on YouTube when it comes to being a brand new but profitable binary options trader. And I know you've been searching for a while and that probably sounds crazy. But watch this video to the end because I am about to change everything for you.
I feel just like a rock star.
What's up, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Rico, aka RockStarrProfits, here, back with another video. And I'm telling you guys, after this video, you just might want to kiss me on the forehead for what it is that you're about to learn. We're gonna hold off on that, but I'm telling you, we're about to change the game for everything that you may or may not already know about trading binary options. And this will probably be one of the most in-depth videos that I've done here on YouTube, really diving into, I guess, how I even started with this whole thing, how I developed, the 3-step setup. And I know I've done other videos in the past about or pertaining to the 3-step setup, but I also know that in time, there's always new subscribers that come to this channel that have no idea about this setup, and you're looking to make money in the markets. You just don't know exactly what video to watch. So we're going to clarify that for you. This is going to be the video right here, and we're going to jump into everything that you need to know as a brand new binary options trader when it comes to hitting the charts. Now, the first thing that I do want to clarify is that trading is not gambling. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it if nobody has told you this already. Trading is not gambling, and I feel like the only people that I really hear that from is from people that don't actually make money in trading. For example, I love you, Pops, I love your dad, but people in my family have always told me that it's risky, that it's gambling, so on and so forth. You got to be careful, right? And what they don't understand about trading is that, trading does have some risk to it, but it's no different than like playing basketball, for example. See, it's a skill, and just like basketball, you can get better at trading. So here's what I want you guys to understand. Okay, very simple. I'm gonna try to keep this video as simple as possible in understanding that the markets only move in 3 directions. So despite how complicated everybody else tries to make it seem, they only move in 3 directions. And the 3 directions goes as this. Look, they go down, they go up, and on occasion, they tend to go sideways. So they go down, they go up, and they go sideways. These are the only 3 directions that the markets move in. And what you have to get good at when it comes to trading, what you have to do is get good at identifying a few patterns. Now, there are thousands of different patterns out in the world, and we can go in depth and talk about who's the best trader and who knows this and who knows that. But I'm sure you guys aren't here for that. You're here to make money. And when it comes to making money in the markets, you only need to know a few simple patterns to be able to be profitable, because these patterns happen over and over and over again. And you can get good at just identifying the patterns. Well, you can get good at making money. So when I first came up with the 3-step setup that I teach here on YouTube, that I teach to a lot of my personal students, this was something that I literally kind of had no choice but to really jump into. And here's why. You see, I was trading MetaTrader 4. I've been trading Forex since about 2016. I found binary options in 2018 and didn't actually start trading it until 2019. But in 2019, when I started trading binary options, I was at a point in my life where things just weren't really going that good. I had just lost my job. I just had my first son. I lived in New York. New York is not a very cheap place to live. I was a full-time Uber driver, and I didn't have enough time to really sit down and learn this stuff or put the time that I wanted to into this, because I was driving about 8 to 12 hours a day just to keep food on the table. But I got involved in a program or an academy that pretty much had given me access to educators that knew what they were doing when it came to trading binary options. And I took that opportunity and I kind of ran with it. I gave myself about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day of just really plugging in and studying the crap out of these traders. And when I tell you studying, I was sitting down and I was just watching their every move. I got on every trading session. I wanted to know exactly what their thought process was in placing these trades, why they placed certain trades and why they didn't place certain trades, why they were looking at this chart and not that chart. I wanted to know what times of the day that they traded. And it got to the point where I started to learn. And I had to very quickly realize that, number one, I didn't have a lot of money, right? So if I was going to fund an account And at the time, the only broker that I knew of, the minimum deposit was $500. So if I was going to fund an account with $500, I had to get this thing right? Number two is that I didn't have a lot of money. Therefore, I couldn't afford TradingView. I didn't want to put up the monthly payment for TradingView because I was already paying a monthly payment for the academy that I was a part of. So if I were to start trading and develop a strategy, my strategy had to be based around the free version of TradingView. And then number three is that although I've made some good money trading MetaTrader 4 and I knew what I was doing on MetaTrader 4, this was binary options. And it seemed so much different to me that I had to learn to forget everything that I knew about MT4 and make the transition into trying to understand binary options a little bit more. So we fast forward up until this point, and throughout my trading journey, I have broken down everything that I look for when it comes to trading into markets into three major categories. Here they are. Number one is indicators. I love to use indicators. Now, I don't use a lot of indicators, probably only about 3 to 4 at a time, depending on the setup and what it is that I'm looking for, but indicators are key in my trading. Number two is SRTs. And if you guys aren't familiar with what SRTs are, SRTs just simply stands for support, resistance, and trends. This is key to trading, and although you don't necessarily need this to be a profitable binary options trader, I would highly recommend getting to know some SRTs and marking up your charts as you are trading. And number three, lastly, is reversals. Now, reversals are very important when it comes to trading binaries because we know that, honestly, we're not looking for big pushes in the markets. We're not looking for, 20, 30, or even 100 pips. We're looking for small, quick in and out trades. And the best times or the best places to get into those trades is right when the market makes its move to the opposite side. So reversals can range anywhere from large market reversals to small candlestick reversals, to even market timing reversals. And I teach all of this to our group over at NextGen. So if you are a part of the MOB NG fam, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But these are the three categories that I break it down into. And I don't believe any one is more important than the other, but I did put it in order from what I think as a brand new trader you should learn from top to bottom, starting with indicators, because those are probably the easiest thing that you can learn to start making some money. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's jump into it. As I mentioned before, this strategy is going to be based around having the free version of TradingView so that you guys can maximize on this without having to put up any of money. You can literally just get on the charts, fund your account, use these 3 steps and use it correctly, right? Stick to the confirmations to go ahead and make some profits in the market. So the very first indicator that we are going to add to the screen is going to be, as always, my Evan, EVAN, Cabral. Okay, so you just type in Evan. Typically, when you type in Evan, it's going to pop up as the very first, indicator preset right here on the screen. This is a public library, which means it's a custom indicator. You're not going to find this on any other platform except TradingView. So the Evan Cabral binary strategy number 2, it has right now 1,700 likes on it. This is the one that you're going to want to utilize to go ahead as pretty much the first step of loading up your charts for this strategy. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with who Evan Cabral is, he's actually one of the educators on our platform. He is somebody that has just been absolutely crushing it in the binary options game. I've studied this guy over and over and over again, and honestly, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't make the amount of money that I make right now when it comes to trading binary options. I probably wouldn't even be doing these videos here on YouTube. So huge shout out to Evan Cabral. But Evan Cabral binary strategy number 2 is what we're going to load first, and as you guys can see, as we loaded that, it loaded a few things onto our chart. Now here's what I want you guys to understand. The Evan Cabral binary strategy 2 is actually a custom preset. So the reason why I use this as a brand new trader with the free version of TradingView is because this one preset allowed me to have multiple indicators on my screen, but TradingView only views it as one indicator. So again, if we're talking about the free version of TradingView, you're only allowed to have 3 indicators on your screen at a time. This one preset gives me more than 3, but TradingView only sees it as 1. So I loved it. It's a great idea, in my opinion. Now, what we're going to do is, for the sake of this tutorial, you're just going to load up the settings. We're going to uncheck the first 3 indicators because they're not really detrimental. You don't really need them for the 3-step setup. As you start to get better, obviously you can implement them, start to use them to help you become a little bit more profitable. But for the 3-step setup, we only need what we have left here on the screen, which is the check marks and our Bollinger Bands. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Bollinger Bands and how Bollinger Bands work, Bollinger Bands are pretty much an indicator that I see a lot of people tend to use, but most people just don't really know exactly how to use them, to be honest. So what you're gonna wanna do is number one, okay? If you're using the dark version of TradingView, you have to come into the settings once again, and you're gonna change this plot number 4, you're gonna change it to white. I like white, you can change it to whatever color you want, but this is the middle band on the Bollinger Band, this right here. So by default, this is going to be black, okay? You're going to want to change that to white, okay? So that you can see it. This is what I do. Now, the Bollinger Bands work as such. We have 2 sets of Bollinger Bands on our screen. We have two on the bottom and 2 on the top, okay? Now, the way that these works is very simple. Typically, when you're trading, you would really only need to use one Bollinger Band, one set of Bollinger Bands, and that's what people tend to do, is use one Bollinger Band. I like to use both of them, especially as I was new in trading, because it helps me identify the zones for buying and selling a little bit better as someone that was brand new and wasn't really sure what I was looking at. Now, when it comes to the Bollinger Bands, they work as such. This is an indicator that we use to be able to identify what we call either overbought or oversold markets. So in explaining overbought and oversold, it's just pretty much being able to simplify when the markets are at a high point and when the markets are at a low point. It's the concept of being able to buy low and sell high. But how do we identify this? Well, we use an indicator like the Bollinger Bands to be able to look at the markets and be able to tell, okay, if the markets are in the top bands, these are the top Bollinger Bands right here, that means that the market is overbought. And typically, overbought means that there are too many people buying right now. That's an overbought market. Now, if the markets are in the bottom band, as such, right here, right here, right here, right? If the markets come down to the bottom band, that is an oversold market, meaning we are looking for buys. So one more time, overbought, we're looking for sells. Oversold, we're looking for buys. Now, in my previous video, I got this question of someone asking me, well, I thought it was buy while the market is high and sell while the market is low. And that just doesn't make sense, guys. I want you to think about it like this. If you're going out and you're shopping, okay, typically when we go out shopping, I don't care how much money you make, you want to have a deal on what it is that you're buying, okay? So what does that mean? That means that if I'm going out and I want to buy a brand new iPhone, well, I don't want to buy the iPhone when it's at its highest price. I want to buy the iPhone when it's at its lowest price. So you're going to buy it low. Then eventually, as you know, if you're the type of person that likes to flip phones, right? Or, you know, sell the iPhone eventually later on, so on and so forth, you want to be able to sell it at a higher price than you brought it for, because that's where you're going to make your profit at. Now, that's probably wasn't the best example, but hopefully you guys understand what it is that I'm saying. When the markets are at the bottom band, we are buying, and when the markets are at the top band, we are selling. Now, this is actually very important because I've seen people take their strategy and just absolutely butcher it. You guys need to learn patience, because if the markets are not at the bottom, we are not buying, and if the markets are not at the top, we are not selling. You have to wait for your confirmations, okay? There's 2 things that I like to look for and trade on, and that is trade confirmations and trade entry points. And yes, there is a difference between the 2. You see, a trade confirmation is what it is that I look for to be able to determine whether or not I'm going to take or even look at a potential trade setup. A trade entry point is what it is that I look at to be able to say, okay, I'm getting into the trade right now. See, a lot of people tend to mix those up, and the Bollinger Bands are not an end all be all. Bollinger Bands are not a strategy. It's a simple indicator. So what does that mean? Well, this is just a tool that we use to be able to identify overbought and oversold markets. This is not where we're going to enter the markets at. So let's go ahead and load up our second indicator. We're going to type this in, STOCH, stochastic. Now, when we're using our stochastic, it works as such. It's the same exact concept when looking at the Bollinger Bands, whereas when we're looking at the markets and it's making its way up, right? This is momentum, by the way. These lines right here are momentum line. This is a momentum-based indicator. So when momentum is pushing up and it makes its way above this top line, okay, which is the 80% mark, okay, this right here is considered, or would be considered, an overbought market. Boom, overbought, okay, overbought, overbought market. Now, vice versa, on the bottom side, when we're looking at the bottom, momentum is pushing down. It comes below this 20% line right here. This is considered an oversold market. So if we're looking at this, oversold, right? Oversold. These are all areas of the market being oversold. So that's how we're going to use the stochastic. Now, the reason why I like the stochastic is because the stochastic actually gives us not only a trade confirmation, but it also gives us an entry confirmation as well. So we're going to get into the entries in a little bit. Right now, we're just going to talk about the trade confirmations, okay? So this is how the stochastic looks. Very simple. That's number 2. Number 3 is going to be one of my absolute favorite indicators to use when I was brand new, and this is why. Because the stochastic gives us a nice solid entry confirmation, but this third indicator gives us more of a accurate entry confirmation. And sometimes you might miss the trade waiting for this third confirmation, but as I always tell my students, it's a lot better to wait and miss a trade than to jump in early and miss out on money, right? Because you lose. So just take that into consideration. When I was brand new to trading, I always used this, and I didn't take a trade without waiting for this indicator right here. And that is the DMI stochastic. I'm gonna type in that DMI STOCH, DMI stochastic extreme. 2,600 likes on it. All right. It's not version number 2. It's not, this version with the little dash, and it's not the regular DMI stochastic. It is the DMI stochastic extreme. So make sure you're using the right indicator. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to load that up. Bada bing, bada boom. And we're going to take a look at it real quick. So in looking at the DMI stochastic extreme, it looks really similar to the regular stochastic. Now, I always customize my colors, by the way, and I would highly recommend you guys change the colors on some of these as well. But it's the same exact concept, whereas when you see the momentum line comes up, cross above the top line, this is an overbought market. When you see it cross down, come below the bottom line, that is an oversold. So just to clarify for you guys, this is overbought, okay? This will be oversold. This is what we're looking for as trade confirmations. Now, what I like about the DMI, very simply, is that not only do you get the overbought and the oversold confirmations, but you also get sell and buy signals from this indicator as well. And the way that this works is very simple. Whenever the momentum line breaks overbought, it's going to stay there for a little bit, and as soon as it comes back down, okay, comes back down and breaks out of that overbought area, touches that top line, you are going to get a signal to sell. Vice versa on the flip side. Whenever it breaks oversold, okay, oversold, it starts pushing up and breaks out of the oversold area right here, you are going to get a signal to buy. So it's almost like 2 confirmations that you should be looking for with this indicator. You can clarify them as like a half a point each, right? So the oversold confirmation will be a half a point. The buy and the sell will be another half a point. Very simple. Now here's the goal and the idea behind the 3-step setup. We have 3 main indicators that we look at on this screen right now. And although they may look like they're doing the same thing, I can assure you they are absolutely not. So the idea is to make sure that they line up, even though they're all doing different things, right? Is to make sure that they line up and they tell you the same thing. Now, this is very important. When it comes to them telling you the same thing, first and foremost, I already know everyone's going to ask me, what are the settings for these indicators? Default on the top Bollinger Bands, default on the DMI, and you can change your stochastic to 533. Thank me later, okay? Now that we got that out of hand, when we're talking about lining up these indicators, these are only 3 confirmations that you need. And why this is so important is because you absolutely do not enter the trade without getting these 3 confirmations. I can almost guarantee you will bump your win-loss ratio up to about 70 to 80% at least just from following these 3 confirmations right here. The problem is that I teach this to a lot of people when people get impatient and they go in with just 2 confirmations. It more than likely isn't going to work like that. So let's go ahead and talk about lining up the 3 confirmations for a potential trade. We're going to start with this very first setup that we see here right in front of us. And all I'm going to do is just back test a little bit and put a vertical line at exactly where we get that nice reversal to the downside. So if you guys don't see where I'm talking about, we're talking about right here. We got a nice reversal to the downside. Now, if we're looking at this, I want you guys to follow along with me. just going over the 3 steps that we talked about today. Number 1, do we have the Bollinger Bands at or near with the markets? Are the markets at or near the Bollinger Bands? Yes or no? If you answered yes, then yes, you are correct. We are absolutely in the Bollinger Bands right now. Number 2, for the potential trade setup, is our stochastic overbought? Yes or no? Absolutely. Yes, it is. And then number 3, is our DMI overbought? Again, yes, it is. So now we have 3 potential trade confirmations that identifies this as a potential trade setup for us. Hopefully you guys are following along, and hopefully everything I'm saying so far makes sense. We have 3 confirmations for a potential trade setup. So now what are we going to do? Now we're going to identify our entry confirmation. Now my absolute favorite entry confirmation is going to be what I call the stochastic cross. Now, if you guys don't know what the stochastic cross is, it's when your 2 stochastic or momentum lines cross each other going in the direction that you are looking to trade. So in this example, we are overbought, which means we are looking for sells in the market, which means we want the stochastics to cross down. So if I go ahead and I just put the vertical line at where we get the nice stochastic cross at, and go ahead and do this. You guys see it crosses right there. Let's open the markets back up. Look at this. I'm gonna ask you guys, if you would have placed a position in binaries, all right? I typically trade 3 to 5 minute positions, but if you would have placed a 3 to 5 minute position right here at the opening of the new candle, would you have cleared this trade going down? The answer, absolutely. In fact, we shot down for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes straight before we got a small pull up and then continued to push down for another 5, 10, 15 minutes beyond that point. So you would have had ample time to be able to get into this trade and get out of this trade with some good money. So this is an example of all 3 indicators lining up. Now, will you get some examples like this one right on over to the right where you still would have cleared this trade, but you didn't get all indicators lined up? Watch this. We got 1 here for a yes. We got 1 here for a yes, but we didn't get the 3rd right here. But we still would have made money here. And this is where people see setups like this and start to get impatient. Again, I'd much rather wait for the perfect setup like this to assure that I'm going to be making my money than to get into something like this and kind of risk it, not really knowing if I'm going to walk away with that profit or not. So let's look for another example. So this is the same exact chart. I just went back a few candles, pushing back a little bit just to look for some example setups. And again, this isn't to say that this setup works 100% of the time. But what this is it's to show you, if you just wait for all of your confirmations, you will be very much likely to clear these trades over and over and over again. So let's go one by one, and I'll even do this for you guys. We'll replay market recap real quick so you can see live, well, not really live, but a recap of live, right? of how this would have played out. So we're going to go step by step. So watch this. Candles pushing up. First thing we see here is we have overbought on all 3 indicators. Okay. Actually, this isn't overbought yet, but we have overbought here. We have overbought here. We're waiting for those Bollinger Bands to be a little bit more secure. Let's keep going. All right. We did touch it a little bit there. All right. Now, what are we doing? We're waiting for a potential entry. The entry is going to be the stochastic cross. So once this starts to cross down and the DMI just starts to push down a little bit, that's typically where I'm looking to enter. Now that we already got this bullish candle right here, it's kind of a good indication that, okay, as long as we get the cross on the next candle, we'll go ahead and we'll enter that trade. Boom. As you guys can see, we got the cross. The DMI confirmed the sell. Look, red candle down, red candle down, red candle down. Boom. So we would have cleared that trade regardless. Again, 5, 10, 15 minutes straight for the drop. I'm only in positions for 3 minutes. My positions are typically 3 minutes long. If I have to roll over, I'll roll over, and that boosts it up to about 5 to 6 minutes, depending on if I have fixed time on or off. But again, 3 to 5 minute positions, we would have absolutely cleared that. Let's keep it pushing. Now we're on the bottom side, okay? So again, we have oversold, oversold, oversold. Let's keep looking, all right? We're waiting for that cross. Remember, if it doesn't cross, we don't get in, okay? So now here we go. Oversold, oversold, oversold. You guys see that? Awesome. Now we have the bullish candle pushing up. This is our confirmation candle. The stochastics are about to cross right now. The DMI looks like it's about to push up as well. All right. Boom. We got the up push. Everything is good to go. Okay. So we would have cleared that. Very simple. And even if you didn't, or if you needed to roll over, depending on your entry point, again, it's still pushed up. 5, 10, ball pullback, 15, 20 minutes straight. of this thing going up. Depending on, again, your position time, you would have cleared this absolutely. Let's keep going. Now, remember, we're just doing a candlestick replay. So when you're live in the markets, it's a lot easier to see this stuff when you're live because you can see the candle moving. Like, for example, this big wick that pushed up, that means that from if you would have entered here, you would have cleared this. And even if you would have entered a little bit late, all right, even though this candle closed at the bottom, it went all the way up here before it came back down. So in my opinion, looking at this, you would have still cleared that trade as well, right? Well, let's keep going. Okay, we're looking at another potential buy right here at or near the Bollinger Bands. Okay, at or near the Bollinger Bands. Stochastic oversold, about to cross up. DMI oversold. We want to see a small push up to the upside. You're only going to see this stuff while the market is moving live. Okay, again, it's harder to see it on the candlestick replay. We're going to keep going and boom. So you guys see that, how it dropped down first and then it shot up. So I'll go ahead. Let's go back one candle for you so you can see it. Let's look at what it looked like on a more of a live base. I want you to pay attention to the candle. Okay, not this one, but the next one. So the next one, you're going to see it opens, it drops down, shoots up. Look, drops down, boom, shoots up. So you would have been able to see this push up during that candle. Entered the trade, all right? And here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. So it's a very simple strategy, and honestly, I can go on and on with you guys of just literally back testing and dropping these vertical lines for you. Boom, look, 1, 2, 3, push up, right? I can do this all day. I can do this all day. 1, 2, 3, push down, right? We can keep going. I'm telling you, 1, 2, 3, drops. If you guys can't see it by now, I know there's always going to be people in the comments, but again, 1 confirmation, 2 confirmation, 3 confirmation, drops. It happens again and again and again. If you guys can just get good at these 3 steps and eventually start to learn some of the other things that I talked about in the beginning of this video, I know you can make a lot of money trading binary options. And obviously your trading journey doesn't stop here. There is so much more to learn when it comes to getting on the charts, but this is 3 steps that literally kept me alive, that gave me that belief check, that helped me understand that I could actually do this, and it helped me stay on the charts and minimize my losses. And I know that if it did that for me, then there's somebody watching this video that it can do that for you as well. And that's all I really want. I want you guys to understand this trading thing isn't as hard as all these gurus try to make it seem. It's literally steps and identifying patterns. And if you can identify these patterns, man, we all getting rich together. I'm just kidding. You shouldn't be trying to get rich overnight when it comes to trading, nor am I saying that you're going to get rich overnight when it comes to trading. But come on, this doesn't get any simpler than this. And if you guys want to go more in depth with my strategy and how it is that I trade, learn these steps and then everything else that I talk about as well, I would highly recommend hitting me up either on Instagram or on Telegram. Join my Telegram group and getting started with our team, because I'm telling you, we have so many people that are just coming in brand new, just like you, that have no idea what it is that they're doing in the markets. And within their first few weeks, they're starting to understand the charts a little bit better. They're starting to make money. And I'm not saying you're going to quit your job or be a millionaire right away, but this is something that you can learn and make money while you're already doing your job, while you're already doing what it is that you're already doing, and make some extra money on the side and be able to withdraw whenever you want. So as always, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you Hulk smash that like button for your boy. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, and it helps the YouTube algorithm understand that I am providing some valuable content for all of my viewers. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As always, this is your boy Rico, aka Rockstar FX. I'm out. Peace.
I feel just like a rock star.
To stay in tune with everything Rockstar FX, including coaching and one-on-one mentorship, make sure you join my personal Telegram group down in the description below at Teach Me to Trade. And if you haven't already done so, add me on Instagram as well at RockStarFX.